Hey, coin hunters and penny hoarders! Imagine checking your pocket change and finding a penny worth, wait for it, $670,000. That's right, I'm not talking about a Powerball ticket or some rare gemstone, but an everyday-looking 1949 Lincoln penny. So grab your pennies, dive into the couch cushions, and let's find out if you're sitting on a small fortune. If you think coins are just spare change, think again. You could be one penny away from a life-changing find. Today, we're talking about the 1949 no-mint mark Lincoln penny and why it might just pay off big time. Alright, first up, let's go back in time to 1949. Harry Truman was president, the Cold War was heating up, and the US Mint was cranking out Lincoln pennies without a mint mark. Now, if you're not sure what I mean by no mint mark, I'm talking about pennies minted in Philadelphia. Usually, coins have a little letter under the ear, like a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco, but this penny has nothing. Why? Because that's how Philly rolls. Now, almost 1949 pennies aren't rare. A few of them have some unusual traits that make them incredibly valuable today. We're talking high-quality strikes, unique die errors, or, wait for it, a pristine mint state condition. If you've got one in your collection that's shiny and basically untouched, you might be in for a big surprise. You're probably wondering, wait, why would anyone pay nearly $700,000 for a penny? Here's where it gets wild. When collectors look for coins, they want top-notch condition and uniqueness. With the 1949 Lincoln penny, certain rare versions are uncirculated, meaning they were never used in transactions. They sat untouched for decades, basically a coin version of Benjamin Button. That means zero scratches, nicks, or dirt. And the real kicker? If you've got one of these in what's called MS-68 or higher, meaning it's practically perfect in condition, that's where the crazy high values come in. That level of quality is rare for a 1949 penny, making it like the holy grail for coin collectors. So, you're ready to dig out your pennies. But what exactly are you looking for? Here's a quick checklist. Look for an exceptionally shiny, untouched penny. If it looks as fresh as a kid on the first day of school, that's a good sign. Remember, this beauty should have no mint mark at all. Just the year 1949 under Lincoln's head. Look for errors like doubled dies, where details like Lincoln's face or the lettering might appear doubled. These errors can jack up the value. Alright, story time. I'll never forget my first coin hunt. I had just heard about these valuable pennies and thought, this is it, I'm going to find a hidden fortune. I tore through my car's cup holder, a jar in my kitchen labeled laundry money, and even called my mom to raid her penny stash. And guess what I found? A whole bunch of nothing special. Seriously, all that work for like $2 in coins. But hey, even though I didn't hit the jackpot, it got me hooked. The thrill of the hunt, the possibility that I could find something amazing, is half the fun. And now, years later, I can tell you, it does pay off for some people. Maybe today's the day for you, so what if you think you've struck gold, or copper in this case? If you've got a 1949 penny that meets the criteria, here's what you do. Take it to a coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. These pros can give you an official grade, which is crucial for serious collectors. Trust me, no one's forking over $670,000 without a legit grade from a professional. This grading process will tell you exactly what condition your penny is in and, fingers crossed, could reveal that it's worth a massive payday. Now, just because one of these pennies sold for $670,000 doesn't mean they all will. Most high-quality 1949 pennies go for anywhere between a few hundred to a few $1,000s, which is still nothing to sneeze at. But if you've got that unicorn, mint condition, nowhere, perfect strike, you could be looking at some serious cash. Alright, fellow penny pinchers. Time to dive into your coin stash and see if you've got a 1949 penny waiting to change your life. Remember, even if you don't find one today, it's the thrill of the hunt that counts. So keep checking those coins, and who knows? Maybe you'll be the next big coin collector success story. Alright, folks, today we're talking about a penny, that could be worth over $600,000. Yeah, that's right. A single, tiny, copper 1962 mint-mark Lincoln penny might just make you a small fortune. I bet right now you're wondering, is there a tiny treasure hiding in my loose change jar? Or maybe, did I just unknowingly pay for a coffee with a small fortune? Oops. Well, don't panic just yet. Grab your pennies, and let's dive into what makes this particular coin so valuable. Alright, so let's start with the basics. The D mint mark? That tells us it was minted in Denver. And 1962? Well, that was a pretty average year in the world of penny production. In fact, millions of these little copper beauties were made, and most aren't worth more than, well, a penny. But here's where it gets interesting. Because a few of these 1962 Denver pennies have something extra special that makes them jump in value, and I'm not just talking about a few bucks. These rare finds can sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're talking dream vacation, house down payment, life-changing money. So, what exactly makes a regular oil penny like this worth more than your car? The answer is simple: errors and condition. Sometimes, mistakes happen during the minting process. Think of it like a typo on a coin. Maybe there's a little double stamping on the date, or Lincoln's profile has some unique, unintentional detail. Or maybe the planchet, that's the metal blank the coin is struck on, wasn't quite right. Errors can take so many forms, but each one makes the coin unique. And collectors? They go wild for unique. Also, condition matters, like a lot. These high-value pennies are almost always in top-tier mint condition with little to no wear and tear, which, let's be honest, is rare for a penny. Here's where it gets juicy. As of the latest sales, a high-quality, mint-condition 1962 D Lincoln penny with one of these rare errors was sold for, drumroll, a whopping $664,000. That's right. Over $500,000 for a penny. Now, before you start quitting your job to become a full-time penny hunter, let's keep things real. These high values are for coins in absolutely pristine condition with rare errors. So while the odds of finding one are pretty slim, it's definitely not impossible. So, how do you spot one of these potentially valuable 1962 D pennies in the wild? Here's a quick checklist to get you started. Make sure it's from Denver. Look for any signs of double stamping, weird marks, or unique features on Lincoln's face, date, or lettering. The shinier, the better. If it looks like it's never seen the inside of a pocket, you might be onto something. You never want to trust your eyesight alone for these things. Certified coin appraisers can help you confirm if your penny's got that jackpot potential. Quick story for you guys. A few years ago, I found this old penny with a Denver D in a drawer. I thought I'd hit the jackpot. I spent hours researching, inspecting it under a flashlight, and even tried to polish it up a bit to make it extra shiny. I was convinced I was holding my golden ticket. Long story short, I got it checked out, and the guy took one look and said, "Sir, this is worth 1 cent. Sighs dramatically. Turns out, I had just wasted hours on a very average penny. But hey, I learned a ton. And now I'm here sharing these tips so maybe you don't make the same rookie mistake. So here's the takeaway. That old jar of coins collecting dust in your closet might just hold a hidden treasure. While finding a 1962 D penny worth $600,000 is a rare stroke of luck, you never know what could be hiding in plain sight. Plus, even if you don't find a jackpot penny, hunting through your change is actually pretty fun and addictive. So go ahead, grab your magnifying glass, your pennies, and give it a shot. And hey, if you want more coin hunting tips, stories about valuable finds, and strategies to help you find coins worth real money. Guys, have you ever looked at a penny and thought, nah, it's just a penny? Well, don't blink, because you could be holding onto a small fortune. Today, we're talking about the 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that could be worth, are you ready for this? A whopping $655,000. Yep, you heard that right. 6 figures for a penny. Pauses for dramatic effect. Just think, that's enough to buy a house, a nice car, or 1,000,000 more pennies. So if you've got a jar of coins sitting around, or maybe your kid has that penny collection, You've been thinking about dumping into the Coinstar. Hold that thought. Stick around to find out why the 1967 Lincoln penny without a mint mark could be the lottery ticket you didn't even know you had. Alright, let's break down the backstory here. In 1967, the US Mint, which usually prints those tiny little letters on coins to show where they were made, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco, decided, hey, let's give ourselves a year off. No mint marks that year, folks. So every penny, nickel, and dime made in 1967 has no mint mark. I imagine that might have caused some confusion. Picture a bunch of coin collectors scratching their heads going, is my penny naked, or is this normal? Well, in 1967, a penny without a mint mark was, in fact, totally normal. But here's the thing, condition is everything. So, while every penny from that year has no mint mark, only a few are in that perfect, mint condition that collectors go crazy for. Now, here's where it gets wild. For a 1967 penny to be worth anywhere close to six figures, it has to be in impeccable shape, like pristine. Think of it like trying to keep a toddler's white shirt spotless during spaghetti night. Almost impossible, right? Well, that's why finding a 1967 penny in such amazing condition is so rare. Let me tell you a quick story. When I first got into coin collecting, I thought I'd struck it rich every time I found an old penny. I'd call my friends and go, guys, I'm retiring. Then I'd look up the coin and realize, it's worth about 5 cents. And trust me, if you're like me and don't know what you're looking for, you'll probably do the same. But when I found my first 1967 penny in decent condition, I knew I had to check the grade. So let's talk about grading. This is where things get real. To fetch the high prices, your penny has to be graded by a professional, and ideally, it should be MS 67 or above. For context, MS stands for mint state, and that's coin collector lingo for a coin in nearly perfect, uncirculated condition. An MS 67 rating or higher means that the coin has almost no flaws. Just imagine the coin sitting in a time capsule since '67. If your penny has any scratches, discoloration, or wear, don't get your hopes too high. But if it's as flawless as the day it was minted, well, friend, that's when you might just have yourself a mini gold mine. The market value for one of these in near-perfect condition recently hit $655,000 at auction. So what does this all mean? It means if you've got some 1967 pennies sitting around, it's time to give them a second look. Grab a magnifying glass, check out that condition, and if you think you've got a winner, get it graded. Who knows? That dusty penny at the bottom of your piggy bank might just change your life. And hey, even if you don't find a $655,000 penny, you'll still have a great story to tell about the time you went on a treasure hunt in your own house. Now I know what you're thinking, a penny worth $643,000? Did I just walk into a crazy alternate universe? But nope, this is reality, my friends. So don't go spending those pennies just yet. Let's dive into why a simple penny could be worth enough to buy you a brand new sports car, a boat, or maybe just a ridiculously epic vacation. Alright, let's get into it. So, what's the big deal with the 1975 Lincoln penny with no mint mark? Normally, pennies are marked with letters like D for Denver or S for San Francisco, but this penny? Nada, zip, zilch. No mint mark at all. And here's where things get spicy. See, this penny was only supposed to be minted in Philadelphia, but in very limited numbers, so finding one without a mark is like finding the golden ticket in Willy Wonka. And I don't mean just any ticket, I'm talking the diamond-encrusted VIP pass. Now let's talk value. Why on earth is this little copper coin worth over $500,000? The answer, my friends, lies in rarity and demand. Coin collectors love rare stuff, especially when it's something ordinary that turns out to be extraordinary. The reason the 1975 no mint mark penny is so valuable is because of its rarity. It was only made in limited quantities, and that makes it super collectible. Imagine if you had, like, an original Pokémon card or a rare comic book in mint condition. This penny is just like that, only smaller and with a lot less Pikachu. Asterisk. Okay, so how do you know if you've struck gold or copper? Here's the drill. Step 1. Go grab any old pennies lying around in a jar, a drawer, or maybe that random pile in your car's cup holder. Step 2. Look for the date. It should say *1975 *. Step 3. Check under the date. Do you see a mint mark like a tiny D or S? If so, it's not the one. But if it's blank, as in, no mint mark at all, you might be holding a true hidden treasure. Imagine finding one in your pocket. That'd be like winning the lottery, only this time, the lottery ticket is in your couch cushions. This actually happened to a friend of mine. Okay, maybe it was my dad and maybe it wasn't $643,000, but he did find a super rare coin at a gas station. He turned it in, got a couple of $1,000, and then promptly forgot to tell me until after the fact. Thanks, Dad. Believe it or not, pennies are becoming super hot right now. It's kind of hilarious when you think about it because, let's face it, we toss them around like they're nothing. But the truth is, rare pennies, especially ones from specific years and with unique characteristics, like our 1975 no mint mark, are starting to fetch jaw-dropping prices. And don't worry, you don't need to be a coin expert to spot them. Just be on the lookout for certain years, conditions, and that infamous lack of mint mark. Now, if you do come across one of these, what do you do? First, don't try to spend it on a soda, please. If you've got one in good condition, the best move is to get it graded. Professional coin grading companies like PCGS or NGC can authenticate your coin and assign it a value. Sure, they charge a fee, but if the payout is in the six figures, it's more than worth it. Then, you can either hold on to it, because hey, it might get more valuable over time, or take it to an auction where collectors bid big bucks. I've seen coins that started at a couple of $1,000 shoot up to insane values because collectors just can't resist a good treasure hunt. And honestly, who wouldn't want to turn a penny into $643,000? I know I would. So, to wrap it all up, that old 1975 penny lying in your dresser might be worth a whole lot more than you ever thought. You could be holding a piece of history, a collector's gem, or just something to brag about at parties. And hey, don't worry if you don't find one today. There are tons of other valuable coins out there hiding in plain sight. Just takes a little knowledge, patience, and maybe some good old-fashioned luck. We're talking about the 1979 D. Lincoln penny, yes, this unassuming little copper friend, currently rumored to be worth up to $643,000. Pauses for dramatic effect. No, you didn't mishear me, that's 6 digits for one penny. Who knew your couch cushions might be holding a gold mine? Grab your pennies, settle in, and let's dive into why some of these 1979 D. Lincoln pennies could be worth more than your car, and why others, well, are just worth 1 cent. Okay, let's get our basics straight. First, what exactly is a 1979 D. Lincoln penny? The D on this penny stands for the Denver Mint, where it was produced. If you flip it over and see Abraham Lincoln on one side and the Lincoln Memorial on the other, you've got yourself a classic Lincoln penny. But here's the thing, not all these pennies are created equal. Some of these bad boys have little quirks that make them super valuable to collectors. Think of it like people who pay a fortune for jeans with holes in them. It's all about rarity and character. And no, I'm not suggesting we start punching holes in our pennies. We're talking about small minting errors, some unique wear and tear, and maybe even special mint conditions that make certain 1979 D pennies worth a fortune. So, you're probably wondering, what exactly makes a penny like this worth up to $643,000? You know, the kind of coin that, if you found it, would make you immediately question all your life decisions? Well, let's break it down. The big-ticket items are minting errors and condition. For example, some of these pennies have something called a double die error. This basically means the coin got struck twice in certain areas, leading to doubling on the images or letters. Shows a close-up of a penny with slight doubling. It's subtle, but coin enthusiasts go crazy for these imperfections. Think of it like a designer typo in the coin world. Then we've got condition or grading. High-grade coins, Those that look like they've just been minted without a scratch are where the real money's at. Imagine you're a penny going to the prom. The better you look in your shiny new copper dress, the higher the value. And I'll tell you, I got a little obsessed myself after reading about this. I started checking my own pennies, bedside table, car cup holder, even checked my dad's coin jar. Found a ton of pennies, none of them worth more than a soda. But hey, it's kind of a thrill. You never know where that six-figure penny might be hiding. Alright, so let's get into the juicy details. Here are the key things to look for in a 1979 D Lincoln penny. First, grab a magnifying glass. Seriously, your eyesight will thank you. Check for any doubling, especially on the date, or on the letters in Liberty and In God We Trust. If you see anything that looks like it's been stamped twice, you might be in for a big payday. Next up, condition. If you've got a penny that looks almost new, no scratches, no smudges, and it's got that deep copper glow, then you might just have yourself a treasure. These high-grade, mint-condition pennies are where the magic happens. And if you're still unsure, you can always send it off to a professional grader to get it officially evaluated. So, what's the real market value? I know, $643,000 sounds ridiculous. And honestly, it is. That's the record price a 1979 D penny in nearly perfect condition fetched at auction. Most of us won't find that rare gem, but even a few $100 for a penny is nothing to sneeze at. Most graded, high-condition 1979 D pennies go for anywhere between $5 to $500 on the collector's market. But hey, even $5 is a great return on a penny, right? Alright, folks, now you're armed with all the info to start hunting for your own 1979 D Lincoln penny. So, next time you find a penny lying around, give it a closer look. You might just be holding a tiny fortune. 1987 penny without a mint mark could be worth a small fortune. And yes, we're talking about that plain old copper-colored coin you probably have tucked away in a jar or rolling around in your couch cushions. Stick with me for the next 10 minutes, and let's dive into the crazy world of pennies worth big bucks, and why you should start checking yours ASAP. Alright, so let's talk about the 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny. What does no mint mark even mean? You see, most coins minted in the US have a little letter on them, P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. But sometimes you'll find a coin without any letter at all. No PD or S. Just plain, mint markless. In 1987, a bunch of pennies were struck without any mint mark due to a minting error. Errors like this make some coins super valuable to collectors, and that's why a certain no mint mark penny from 1987 has been valued at around $632,000. Yeah, you heard that right. That's like winning the penny lottery. Now, picture this. You're walking along, minding your business, and bam! There's a penny on the ground. Normally we're like, just a penny, not worth the effort to pick it up. But what if that penny could pay for your kid's college tuition, or like your entire mortgage? I know it sounds wild, but this penny became valuable because it was a true, one-of-a-kind error. Coins with unusual traits, like missing mint marks or off-center prints, are the superstars of the coin world. So, if you happen to come across one, you've basically found the golden ticket of coin collecting. Now, you might be thinking, okay, cool, but how do I actually spot this gem? First, look at the year, 1987. Then, look for the absence of any mint mark. If you find a 1987 penny with no D or P stamped on it, you might just have something special. So why are collectors so into these things anyway? Well, it's like Pokemon cards for adults. Collectors love rare coins with unique stories or production errors, and they'll pay big bucks to get their hands on them. The more unique the error, the higher the price tag. Imagine someone bidding over $500,000 on a penny. You could call it a mint investment, literally. Wink, funny story. When I first got into coin collecting, I thought I struck gold every time I found an old penny. I remember one time, I found a 1957 penny and I went bonkers. I was on Google looking up its value, thinking I'd stumbled upon a jackpot. Turns out, that 1957 penny was worth 1 cent. Cue laughter, but hey, that's the thrill of it. And every so often, one of these pennies turns out to be worth way more than its face value. So now, anytime I come across an old or strange-looking penny, I stop and give it a second look. And you should too. So, here's a little game plan if you're ready to hunt for treasure in your piggy bank. First, dig out all your pennies and sort them by year. Keep an eye out for 1987s in particular. If there's no mint mark, you may have something valuable. Even if you find a 1987 no mint mark, the condition matters. If it's super shiny, you might be onto something. If it looks like it survived 3 world wars, its value might drop. Collectors love a pristine coin, so the better the condition, the higher the potential value. Asterisk, if you think you've found one, take it to a coin expert or a professional appraiser. Don't just put it on eBay right away. Make sure you know what you have before you sell it. You don't want to accidentally sell a $600,000 penny for $5. Alright, coin hunters, that wraps up our treasure hunt for today. Who would have thought a little old penny could be worth a literal fortune? So next time you see a penny lying around, pick it up. Give it a good look. You might just have a piece of history and a stack of cash in your hand. Yes, you heard that right. Today, we're diving into the incredible world of the 1991 Lincoln no mint mark penny, because this little copper beauty might just pay for your dream vacation. Or, your mortgage. So, stick around to find out how this happened, what to look for, and maybe, just maybe, you'll find yourself 6 figures richer. Okay, so let's get into why on earth this plain-looking penny could be worth a small fortune. The key here is in the mint mark, or rather, the lack of one. Most U.S. coins have a little letter showing where they were minted, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and blank for Philadelphia. Now, a lot of 1991 pennies were made in Philadelphia, but only a handful, like super rare, made it out without any mint mark at all. These rare no mint mark pennies are one of the ultimate collector items, and the 1991 version is especially valuable. In fact, the current market value is around $613,000. That's because this kind of misprint is like finding a 4-leaf clover, but way better, because no clover is paying your bills. Alright, here's where it gets a little technical, but hang in there with me. The reason these pennies are valuable isn't just because they're missing a mint mark. The 1991 no mint mark penny has been graded by coin experts as nearly flawless. That's what makes the value skyrocket. Imagine owning a car that's 30 years old but still looks brand new, except, instead of a car, it's a coin small enough to fit in your pocket. Plus, this is a coin that kind of slipped through the cracks at the US Mint. It's like if the mint workers were all on their coffee break, and this one snuck off the assembly line before anyone noticed. These little accidents make coin collectors drool. So, let's get to the $1 million question. Or, well, the $600,000 question. How do you know if your 1991 penny is worth this much? Well, first, grab that jar of change sitting in your kitchen. Yeah, the one you keep meaning to take to the bank. Go through any 1991 pennies you find. Check for a mint mark. If there's no mark and it's in near mint condition, congratulations. You may be holding on to a tiny treasure. And look, I get it. Going through your change isn't the most glamorous thing. But hey, consider it an investment in your future. Just picture telling your friends, yeah, I just found a $600,000 penny in my couch cushion. That's some legendary stuff. I once had a penny collection phase. My mom thought it was cute. I'd spend hours inspecting each coin like a little detective, looking for something rare. Spoiler alert, no 6-figure pennies in there. But hey, it kept me out of trouble and maybe taught me the importance of a good hustle. Fast forward to now, and I'm wishing I'd checked those coins a little more carefully. If I had found one of these 1991 no mint mark pennies back then, you'd probably see me filming this from my own private island. So, what's the takeaway here? Don't underestimate the power of a simple penny. You don't need a huge safe full of gold bars to build wealth. Sometimes it's as easy as digging through the change in your car's cup holder. And if you're the lucky person who finds a 1991 no-mint mark penny in near perfect condition, you just might have yourself a serious payday.